We've talked about the different platforms, we've talked about the organization, but now we need to talk about the creativity. And so when going into the Liquid Hackathon, what was kind of the voice that you thought was going to be appropriate for this program?
So once the event was greenlit to get going, the event organizers were already talking to the graphics team, were already talking to all the parties that were involved. And when they came to me, they had shown me the rough imagery that they were going to use. And it had circuits, it had color, and it seemed, kind of like matrixy. So after talking to the leads of the event, I got inspired to use a matrix style kind of format. So Liquid Hacks is written with numbers and funky letters, and we were a month out at advertising this event. So why not make a loading bar? Because we can load this event, which is techie, and get right up to it. These are like the small little creative bits that we get to do on our social side because we're presented with a graphic or a video asset. So where we get to get creative is really with the copy.
You already talked about how pretty much in any given moment on Team Liquid, you guys are talking about a dozen different things. So how do you make sure like something with the hackathon gets noticed when there's already so much going on your platforms?
So that's where voice really comes into play. With this hackathon, we had a certain style that we were achieving and maintaining that, while simultaneously there might be a Dota post going out in the next hour. And that style is completely different as well. So before any of this gets published, we're thinking about the creative side of all of this and how to differentiate from our day-to-day social output as well. So anything and everything to really cater to our fans and uplift them in ways that we can.
And how much of this is going beyond just the Team Liquid fans and trying to pull in new fans?
If you're a hacker and we found you through the Facebook group and you kind of knew about esports, maybe this might have converted you to be a Liquid fan.
So you start from conceptualization, 30 days before it goes live. You're breaking down the content, making little edits and tweaks and quality of life changes. But the day of the event is here. What does it look like? What does social media look like? And what does your team look like?
With an event, our lift comes mostly before.
Okay.
So we are trying to drive signups. We're trying to drive fans to set reminders and be present for these events when they kick off. And as the event happens, we're helping leverage what's going on the Twitch broadcast. So if there's a panel, letting the fans know there's a panel starting. If there's a keynote, letting the fans know that as well. So we're helping direct traffic and letting the fans know what's happening.
So actually, the primary aspect of the social media team was kind of like a week beforehand or like leading up to the event, not necessarily the event itself.
Correct. So with a hackathon, you need to drive signups. And how do you drive signups? Well, you gather where the fans are, whether they are the fans that are on LinkedIn or they're on the Discord or they're in our YouTube community or even Twitter. We need to be in those spaces and letting them know that, hey, this really cool event's coming up. You should sign up and start thinking about what you want to create.
So we've already had the hackathon that happened last year. What exactly are we doing with the current social media piece with the hackathon? Am I going to be doing next year's?
We're actually going to revisit it, and because you're not super familiar with the content plan, we have an activity plan for you, and we're going to dive into that.
Okay, it's probably for the best that I don't have any kind of power over what comes up, but I'm down to review last year's.